And good afternoon, and welcome to the Patriotic Dragon radio program. The a show to bring open, honest, thoughtful conversation back, allowing individuals and groups to be a part of a better, brighter future. As always, the views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the guest, WYYZ, or the sponsor. The sponsor this month is Pickens County Republican Party. Our Pickens County GOP group is here to provide support to all candidates running under the GOP banner in their primary contest and support the chosen candidate in the general election, whether it be local, state, or national races. Our guest this week is Conda Goodson. Conda, good to have you on with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I want to start with your own early on as you started looking at and working on your candidacy. What I'd like for you to do is kind of give us an update of where you've gone from there to where you're at today.
Well, running for 4 counties, it's a lot of meet and greet. I have met so many small business owners, large business owners, citizens, knocking on doors, senior centers, just you name it, I'm there. And throughout the community, the number one thing I'm getting is why people are telling me why Bethel needs dethroned, if you will.
Yeah.
And the number one thing is taxes. Okay. And they list the taxes that they are the most upset about. Okay. And that goes from the hospitality industry, about the 35 cents a gallon tax that he supported. That goes to the $5 a night motel bed tax. Okay. And now, on a side note on that, the people to me that's getting hit the hardest is the ones that cannot afford a home or an apartment living in these extended stay places. Essentially, their rent just went up $35 a week. The state government's collecting rent from these people that cannot afford a better life.
Because it's considered a hotel even though it's extended stay.
Because it's a rental bed, so you got the tax.
$5 a day. Okay.
Yeah, $5 a day.
Didn't realize that. So that's one more negative to go along with that. So.
And the one that really hits people in the heartstrings, I guess you would say, the hardest, is the hospital bed tax. The people that are sick and dying in these hospital beds when they need the most empathy are getting hit with higher taxes. And people just can't wrap their brains around that.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them.
Yeah,
so.
I understand. So, from the standpoint of now that you are meeting citizens and talking about different ideas, and I know you've been to several other area meetings. What other GOP or chamber or Rotary type meetings have you attended in the area? That kind of thing, as far as people from the chamber in your different areas.
Well, I've went to all 4 counties. I went to all their Tea Party meetings and every Republican meeting I can squeeze in. And then a few local meet and greet type deals, and I've spoke at the schools a couple of times. And
good.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting, and we've had the fundraiser dinner where we had a large congregation and a lot of support came to that. So
Great.
It's a growing movement, I guess you could say.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what it's all about is that organic part of getting feedback from the people that you're going to be supporting and be their spokesperson there at the Capitol and everywhere else.
And that's exactly what I want to be, is a voice for the people.
Right. Well, good. As far as issues that are on the ballot down there, I've been getting a little bit of feedback on the legislation, that type thing. What are you hearing as far as the legislation that they're working on to try and push through so they can get back out on the road with this session?
Yeah, it seems that they're in a big hurry this year because there's so many of them. Seat is up, and the people are fed up with it.
Right.
The one that I guess it shouldn't have surprised me as much as it did, but made it through the House and is sitting in the Senate is the gag bill, to where groups cannot publicize the voting record of any elected official for 6 months before an election. That is totally against everything our democracy's for, to put it nicely. And I'm praying our senators, even my opposition, thinks that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
The people have a right to know what our elected officials, our tax-paid employees, how they're standing up for or against us. If you're ashamed of it, don't do it.
Yeah, I know what, and I'm not honestly aware of who the sponsor of that bill was in the House or the Senate, but do you know?
I'm not going to
Okay.
throw no names out
All
there.
right. But we can always go to the website legis.ga.gov.
Yes.
And that legislative website, I found it to be a wealth of information on bills that are forthcoming and who's responsible for them, who's on the committees, and that type of thing.
Right,
So,
right,
yeah. So anybody can look out there themselves. I just haven't looked at that one. I've been following the RFRA, the renditions and versions of that, as well as here in Pickens County. The one thing that I've also been following is the House bill and now Senate Bill 355, which is on the testing for the students and the comprehension part of it. Our favorite subject, Common Core.
I would love to talk about Common Core.
Okay.
Okay. I'll tell you my opinion about it, my personal opinion, then I can give you a personal story that happened to me a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
That has got me so upset over this and appalled that senators and governors and even the president is trying to dictate how our teachers are to teach instead of allowing the teachers to be creative and to influence these children for a lifetime, not just for a year.
Right.
Okay. Well, that kind of tells you my stand on it there. I am dead against Common Core. I believe that is the worst thing we've done to our children, our teachers, and our future.
Right.
My grandson, who is 5, he goes to kindergarten. And a couple of weeks ago, he brought home a little note saying that in April, he's going to have a 3-minute time test on addition and subtraction. He's 5. I'm appalled.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I mean, it just blew my mind. And then I went on Facebook and I got to looking, and people were posting their 2nd and 3rd grade students' math problems. And these are problems that just will blow your mind for these age children, right?
Right.
And I got thinking, well, if he don't do these timed addition and subtraction in kindergarten, then there's no way he's going to be able to do the next steps and the next steps and the next steps.
Right.
But the new math, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
is taking away their creativity, their individuality. It's saying, you're going to do this, you're going to tell me why you did this, and that's it.
Yeah.
And teachers, I know a lot of teachers. I've raised 3 children through the school systems and had 2 in college. I mean, I know quite a few teachers. I got family members who are teachers. I cannot find one single teacher that is for Common Core.
Yeah.
The common message is that it's took away their ability to teach. It's took away their ability to properly feel a subject because they're having to spend more time on how to test. And to me, if we are focusing more on how to take a test than we are the material on the test, we need to reevaluate our values.
Right. Right.
This is our future. Do we want every child to be identical, or do we want the next Albert Einstein, the next airplane? I mean, what do we want here?
Right. Right.
To me, I would rather my child not be that advanced and go out here and create the newest, greatest thing.
Right. Yeah, and we've also found with having Richard Wood on the state school superintendent that most of the counties jumped the gun on trying to, quote, comply with what they perceived as being Common Core standards, where if they were teaching at a standard already where they were academically correct, they didn't have to make any changes whatsoever. But that way no money's spent. So the state definitely dictated and made all the different districts step up and go through all kinds and spend a lot of our tax money that did not have to be spent.
Wasted.
Wasted. And so we're hoping that House bill and the Senate bill 355 will get through. And I've been on the same thing on Facebook. Our teachers and parents here really focusing on getting to the representatives, getting to the senators, the governor, the lieutenant governor, across the board. So.
Well, I believe that we are to put our education back, not 100%, but more so in our local school boards, because there, your teachers, your parents, your principals, everybody has access to help make decisions for these children. And I believe our parents and our teachers are going to make better decisions for our children that they know than somebody in Atlanta.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's just how I feel.
How do you, as far as giving parents, and part of the Senate Bill 355 is to the opt-out portion of it, how do you feel as far as giving parents the ability to opt out of having to take the standardized tests altogether?
Well, the thing there is, how is your child going to fare whenever they graduate high school? Are they going to be able to compete in today's society if you opt out. But if you go backwards a little bit and take away some of these standardized testings to where it's not so stressful on these kids, then maybe people wouldn't be pushing to opt out because it would be more neutral for everyone.
Right.
Because to me, once you hit a kid in the self-esteem, that's hard to bounce back from. They're going to do, statistically, they're going to do worse in school because their self-esteem is so low, because they cannot compete on these standardized testing over and over.
Right.
I mean, one of my children, she has a test anxiety disorder. I mean, she knows the material frontwards, backwards, but she freezes when it comes to a test.
Sure.
And she would have really struggled in, I mean, they had a lot of standardized testing when she was in school, don't get me wrong, but today's standardized testing is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and when students graduate from high school, if they're going on to a university or college, they're taking their ACTs, they're taking SATs, so they're taking those college exams.
Right.
But yeah, my thought in what I've heard from the educators here, including because we've had a major turnover and a lot of teachers and actually some principals and everything resign and announce their retirements this year. Because of that, we've had about 15 positions come open since the beginning of school this year.
That's
just
awful.
Just in Pickens County, and these are teachers who've been there 20 years plus.
Dedicated teachers.
Dedicated teachers, and the overall sentiment seems to be that there should be starting tests, and at the beginning of the school year, and then look at where we're at the end of the year.
Yeah,
and
benchmarking.
benchmark testing that way, which to me makes far more sense in the respect of not what the students learning, because in industry, if you go to a class to learn a new piece of equipment or a new technology, you're tested the first day you're in class, and then if the class is a week or if it's 10 months, you're tested at the end to see what they taught you.
Right.
And so that way they can adjust for comprehensions. Because and actually I had a conversation with a student at UGA this afternoon who their class actually had a new professor, and they all went to the academic affairs committee to say that the professor was not teaching well. And they looked at it. When you got a class of 115 people and 85% of them are passing every other class in the high 90 percentile, and this professor, their average test was 74.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but we don't have academic affairs that high school or middle school students can go to.
Right.
They're at the mercy of the test. So I think there's a lot of things that we could add into the system to give some ways to work through those issues.
Yeah, well, I think the community, the parents, the teachers, all that should be having input in this, not just a select group, a select few.
Right.
Because you have wonderful ideas. I have what I value as wonderful ideas. I mean, everybody should have some input in this, and then find a common ground that everyone would be happy with or happier.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we always talk about on the radio show. Get involved at your local Board of Education. Show up for the meetings. If you're going to criticize or you've got an idea, don't talk about it in the aisle at Kroger's. Go to your BOE meeting and be a part of it.
Yes, definitely. Speak up.
Yeah, and something along that same line, I was just talking to yesterday our chairman of the Board of Education here, for parents and other groups that are concerned. Things don't move quickly at the school board, but you have to be persistent if you want those changes to occur. So you can't go in and say, I want you to change tomorrow, because that's not the way it works. But being persistent and being part of it is the solution.
Well, generally speaking, on a lot of subjects, if you don't care enough to follow through, why should they?
Right. Yeah, because they have a lot of pressure on them to meet the criteria that's been mandated to them as well.
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how people view things.
Sure,
So.
sure, yeah. And then as we were talking about before in the rest of the district, I know we touched on the 411 corridor expansion, or whatever the Appalachian, 5 different names that they've got attached to it, so everybody can have it on their billboard. What are you getting from constituents that you're talking to as far as that goes?
Well, it depends on which part of the county you talk to. The south end of the county says we don't want it here. Don't put it down here. Mm-hmm. The north end of the county don't want it there, but are getting told it's going there. Mm-hmm. And the city, they love it because it ain't going there. There's no chance of that. But the north end of the county, the people that live in that community, some people got their house mortgage right before it was announced. I mean, that's upsetting. If you bought your home for this community, this setting, this is the area I want to raise my family in, and then 5, 6 months, even 5, 6 years later, you still got this loan. And all of a sudden, everything about your decision has changed. At no fault of your own. I mean, there's no way you could have foreseen this.
Sure.
And those people are really upset. I mean, well, one aspect I keep hearing a lot about is that the insects that have been coming over to America on the cargoes. And the port location is less than a mile from our national forest.
Well, that's an aspect I had not heard of, but
Oh, I get told a lot of those stories. And people are asking, do we really want to risk our ecosystem in our national forest, the foothills of the Smoky Mountains, because it's that close?
That's something I would never have thought about. That's an interesting issue.
And
then as far as the traffic, which had Sam Wheeler with the Georgia DOT was on with us and talking about traffic count. And the statement was made that prior to 2007, 2008, the turn down, that the traffic out of Dalton down the 411 corridor, 136, 53, and even 52 was higher than it is today. And with the expansion of the inland port, that it would probably still not come up to 2007 or 8 standards. Those are statistics. Those are coming from the Georgia DOT, but I don't see how that's going to work if I'm going to take passenger cars and trucks and replace them with tractor trailers.
right.
How that correlates as far as traffic count.
Right. Well, there again, if you ask the north of the county citizens, they're going to tell you that they don't remember 10,000 extra trucks on the road every year. They've lived there forever. They don't remember that.
Yeah.
They don't see any great dramatic drop in traffic over the last few years. And to them, there's no way, this is their words, not mine, there's no way they're ever going to make it anywhere on time with 10,000 additional trucks on the road a year.
Yeah. And I've actually heard numbers as high as 30 to 40,000 at peak. That it could be that high. So, yeah.
Wow, that's
So that's
it's a 2-lane highway with school buses.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that with the area, not necessarily where Chatsworth, like you say, the downtown area, but Ranger, and then some of the other areas on the south of part of 411 corridor, and then obviously the north when you get out of Whitfield and those areas. And with me working with the people at the Volkswagen plant, they like the idea to get the trucks out of downtown Chattanooga.
Of course.
But they're also the people in that northern area, Tinga, where you're originally from, that area. That's going to be a major change to that area as far as just the geography and the construction, the delays and that type thing. So
Well, I've had people worried about school buses. I mean, now, because school starts so early, they're putting their kids on the bus 6:15 in the morning. In the dark, I mean, it's dark during that time, especially on these county roads where there is no street lights, there is no property lights. I mean, it's dark. And you're standing out here with your kids. Hopefully you're standing out there with your kids that early. And with the delays, all these additional trucks, and this is their fares, all these additional transportation and trucks and everything else going on, how much earlier are they going to start putting their kids on the bus? Are we going to have 5 a.m. bus routes? I mean, 5:30? We don't know.
Or delayed school opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you look at the Metro Atlanta area, and that's what they've had to go to in Cobb and in Douglas County, is they have staggered start times. So they've got high school starting as late as 9 a.m. in the morning, and they don't get out of there until almost 5 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah. So that way the buses, they're running from before 7 a.m., but they're running that late because they can't have the high school students who are driving cars and those buses doing it. So they've staggered those.
That sounds just a wow, especially from a country standpoint, a country view. I mean, the big city, it seems a little bit more feasible than Murray County.
Right.
or
Right.
Whitfield County, or Pickens County, or Gordon County. It's just,
Yeah.
you think of that as the slow country life,
Yeah.
laid back,
Yeah.
casual.
And as far as what you're hearing from constituents and what you're seeing as far as economic development part of it, what are you hearing that constituents want to see different than what's being currently espoused or done?
Well, there again depends on which part of the county you talk to. The north end don't want to see any of that stuff coming. They don't want to see the expansion of warehouses. They don't want to see the truck stops. And well, the newest thing I've heard about is there is a carpet mill coming, and they're promoting that it's coming because of the port. Well, it's coming from Germany. The average large corporation moving overseas, it would be like a 3, 5, maybe even a 10-year plan to move to another country.
Right.
So either they knew about the port in this 5, 10-year window, or it didn't happen overnight like they're promoting.
Yeah.
So
You know what company it is that they're talking about coming in?
I don't remember the name of it.
Okay. But it is from Germany?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, that kind of brings up the question that Craig Stallings, one of our regular panelists, had asked of the Georgia DOT and also of Mr. Bethel when he was on with us. If we're going to have the inland port, if we're going to have dry goods only in containers versus trains coming in with chemicals. Well, the last time I looked, most of the carpet industry uses polymers and chemicals, that type of thing. So
yes.
that would be a question there, is whether those soluble things are going to be stored at this facility or transferred at this facility, because that brings up a whole different aspect to it.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of the citizens in all areas of the county agree with that too. They've got that fear. Because even though you live on the south end, that could affect you. A major chemical spill or something to that effect could really cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, and those transport trucks leaving the port to get their way over to this mill. Now, are they talking about the mill being built in the Dalton corridor there, or is it going to be built
In Murray County is
in
what
Murray
they're saying.
County?
That's what they're promoting, yes.
That would be interesting, because
Yeah.
that be, where would the industrial park area be?
They've been doing rezoning, so I really couldn't tell you
Okay.
the location.
So in Murray County. Okay.
I mean, we all agree that we have to diversify and we have to get new industry in, because the Dalton, Murray County area got hit the hardest in the economy crash in the nation.
It still is. Yeah.
It's still, people are still hurting. Now, if you look at the unemployment numbers, we're not, but in real, true unemployment,
Right.
people are hurting. People that had $15, $20 an hour job back then have $8, $10 an hour jobs. I mean, their quality of life is just dramatically dropped.
Sure.
We need to get good quality jobs back in there.
Mm-hmm.
But with any job we bring in, we need to weigh the risk with the rewards. If the rewards ain't the greatest, we don't need to do it.
Right. Absolutely.
And this whole port deal, I think the biggest fear of the North County citizens is the fact they don't know what the risk and the rewards are, because they feel like no one's sharing this information with them.
Right.
And I mean, they're trying, they're calling. I've even called and asked, can they get this report? Can they get that report? And they cannot get that information.
Mm-hmm.
So I see their fears. I understand their fears.
Absolutely.
And
Okay.
if the elected officials would stand up and actually help these people understand the risk and the rewards, maybe things wouldn't be so bad.
Right.
But the way it is, it's turmoil for them, the ones living there, of course.
Sure.
But
Okay. Well, as far as other legislation that's there at the State House now, where are your constituents that you've talked to, and your personal stand as far as the RFRA?
it's mixed emotions. Some people are for it, some people are against it, and some people fear it because of what it could lead to, the potential outcomes of it.
Okay.
And I understand. I mean, I can't say they're right or wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and what we're seeing in the early stages, I know there's a tremendous amount of amendments that are trying to be added on from both sides of it. I think if the RFRA stays as the federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act was written, then we're fine.
Right.
But because you're not changing anything internally, but I think there's at least 8 amendments that I've heard that are trying to be tacked onto it. And I don't see it coming out of session this year again. Honestly, hope it doesn't, because I sure don't want that to be rushed through.
No.
With the other things they're trying to do.
No. I hope something that important, they take their time and do it right.
All right. How about, have you seen or heard anything from people you're talking to as far as the changes supposedly to the concealed carry and the student and campus carry as far as the gun bill?
Well, they're not really talking about that much. I mean, the campus is, of course, because we got the college community there.
Yeah.
But and that's mixed emotions too. You got the ones that's for it and the ones against it. Mm-hmm. It's just very diversified on that topic.
Really?
So.
Okay. All right. What else? What other meet and greets and that type of things have you got coming up here this month? And of course, obviously before March 1st.
Okay. Well, this Saturday, tonight that this is aired, we're going to have a meet and greet here at Rocco's from 3 to 6.
Great.
Everyone, please come down and meet. Bring your questions, and just show up.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good. And your information where they can find you at?
Yes. I have a Facebook page, Count on Conda for Georgia Senate. My email address is countonconda@gmail.com. Phone text is 706-483-7019.
Yep.
Okay. When I'm on Twitter also, we have a fundraiser going on I would like to bring up.
Absolutely.
It's $5 raffle tickets, and the winner gets $175 worth of gift cards and gift certificates. More information on that's on my campaign page.
Okay.
Please check it out, and make sure to add yourself to get all the updates.
Okay. Make sure and go out there and like your Facebook and your
Yes,
account.
add member.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And we have the yard signs, of course. We have the big yard signs. Anybody who has a good location or would love to have one in their yard, just let me know.
Okay.
We'll make sure to get that to you. We got our bumper stickers and our buttons in. We finally got our buttons in, and we're getting our T-shirts made. So,
all right.
The movement's growing. It's definitely growing.
That's great. That's great. All right. Conda, thank you again for being on, and look forward to talking to you later in the campaign.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks. So we'll break. All right. And boom. If we would, we want to talk about unemployment. You're getting a lot of feedback on that. Tell me what you're hearing.
Yeah. Well, unemployment, the public feels like what my opponent did to unemployment in Georgia was a direct attack on the working class. And people are still paying for it and will pay for it. That we went from 26 weeks to an average of 9 weeks. Our draw time is dependent upon all of Georgia. They're pumping millions into the port in Savannah and creating jobs daily. And that determines if the mill worker is going to get to draw more than 9 weeks or not. This is going to determine if they're going to lose their home and be able to provide for their family, or if they're going to go on welfare, which is higher taxes for everyone to continue to pay for that. And like I said, people feel like it's nothing short of a direct attack to the working class.
Okay.
And one other thing I would like to mention real fast is another tax that people are complaining about is where my opponent followed Obama's lead and created a new socialized medical program. Instead of saying insurance companies, you will pay for medical bills, he created a new tax saying the citizens, you will pay for medical bills. Now, don't get me wrong, we need to take care of our children, and autism is growing every day, and we need to find out why so many children have been born with it. We need to find a cure or a cause, or we need to find out how to prevent so many births with this. But I don't think us paying taxes to pay for medical bills is the answer to that. I think if we're going to raise taxes, we need to find a cure. We need to be putting that money into research and let the insurance companies pay for medical bills.
Okay. All right. And anything else on unemployment?
Well, the unemployment, I'll go over it briefly because I can talk about that all day. They had to take a loan whenever the economic crisis happened from the federal government because of prior bad decisions, and to put it nicely.
Sure.
And that loan has got to have interest payments paid onto it. And where do you think that money's coming from to pay those interest payments?
That'd be the taxpayers.
Well, Not so much. Well, it's the taxpayers, but it's more importantly, it's coming from job creation funds and our elderly.
Okay.
Their premiums are going up for their health insurance to pay the interest on this federal loan.
Okay.
And people did some research, not me, but people a lot smarter than me, did some research, and they figured out that for $26, an average of $26 per employee for just a few years, that the industry could have paid back that loan. Instead of our seniors faced at paying these interest payments for an undetermined amount of time.
Okay.
So people are upset, to say the least.
Sure.
We're attacking the working class by the cuts we made to the unemployment.
Right.
We're attacking our elderlies because the money that was taken from them their whole life, they're now punished for to pay interest on a different loan, a bad loan that should have never happened. And essentially, that's making our welfare go up because these seniors that are on a fixed income were getting by and feeding themselves. Well, now they have $100 less a month to feed themselves. So what do? They have to go ask for food stamps,
Right.
which is another tax that we're having to pay. So essentially, it's another attack on the working class,
Sure.
the ones that were fortunate enough to not lose their jobs, that still have their good job and still working, or even the ones working at McDonald's are paying more taxes to cover all of this.
Right.
It's a never-ending cycle, and there has to be a better way to do this.
Right.
That's not hurting the working class so much.
All right.
And one other thing I'd like to add, I know this
Yep.
in my top 5, but I've read article after article about how Georgia has got the lowest college cost. And then we got Hope that pays for so much of our students, of Georgia students.
Yeah.
If we got Hope paying for this, then why is it we have the highest student-to-debt ratio in the nation?
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter goes to college, and I cannot fathom why that is a statistic we have tagged to us.
Right.
And then you got the fact that Georgia has been labeled the most industry-friendly in the nation by independent study.
Right.
Well, there's another independent study that also says it's the most corrupt Georgia government or state government in the nation. Does it go hand in hand? I don't know.
No. Interesting.
That's for the citizens to decide.
Yep. Absolutely. And make a change.
Yeah, definitely make a change. Stand up, have your voice heard.
Yeah.
Your vote counts more so now than ever. In both the presidential, your local, your state. You've got to get out and vote.
Absolutely.
You've got to.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, and now we want to welcome Miss Robyn White, locally here in Pickens County, and with the Trump for President 2016 campaign. Robyn, thank you for being on with us.
Well, thank you very much, Will, for inviting me. It's a blessing to be here.
Well, I appreciate the time you taking the time to come out and being here at Rocco's and bringing information, pamphlets, buttons, and everything. Because I know there's a lot of people that have already stopped by and got them from you, and that's a move in the right direction.
It really is, and the good news is they're all voting for Trump.
Well, that's it.
So I'm having a really good day here today.
That's good. That's good. I know that at the end of the parking lot here at Appalachian Gun and Pawn, I think Ralph Fitz and Kim and Josh have been running their Trump stickers since day one. So I know they're fully on board with it.
Well, I'm going to stop in and see them then.
Well, good. Yeah,
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, and they would definitely probably like to have some more of your paraphernalia to give out to their customers
And
too.
I've got plenty.
Well, good. So tell me a little bit about yourself first. I know that in our previous conversation you moved here not that many years ago and stuff, so give us a little background on yourself.
Well, I've always voted. I've always went out and voted, but lately I've just really, thanks to Mr. Trump, I'm totally awake. I want to do more. I want to get involved. I want to get involved, in our local government as well. But he has just, he's basically given me hope that we can make America great again. That's all he wants to do. And that's really the reason I'm supporting him.
Okay. As far as the campaign here, in Pickens County. Where you at with it as far as the group and that type of thing, as far as what you've got going on?
Well, right now we have been going to corporate a lot, which is the corporate headquarters is down off of Windy Hill in Marietta, and we've been doing a lot of phone calls there. We really want to get out. We're trying to get a ground game going here, just getting out, seeing people, giving out bumper stickers, pins, yard signs, and I'm really excited to say it seems like we've got quite a strong support here, but we want to keep it going.
Absolutely. As far as Mr. Trump's positions, and I don't know if you've got something there that you want to talk about as far as his positions. That I'll let you run with it from there. I'll say it that way.
Well, and I will run with it because I'm very excited about it. He is, I guess, the number one thing that really attracted me to support him is I really believe he's truthful. I want a president that is truthful. I want a president that will bring people together, somebody that will unite Americans instead of, pulling the people in different directions, that everybody can be on a uniter, in other words, bringing all Americans together. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, Mexican, we are Americans. And I think that he would do us very well in Washington. And I know that he would definitely do better deals than what we're seeing being made there right now. So I very much look forward to that. And also, Mr. Trump's a conservative Christian Republican. I want people to be crystal clear on that. He is conservative. He cares about the security of our nation. He wants to build a wall. Without walls, we don't have a country. And he really wants to take care of our vets, which very much need taken care of. We need to take care of them before we take care of really anything else, I believe. But I'm excited because I really feel like that he can make deals for us that's going to, help us make deposits in our country instead of writing checks.
Well, I like the idea of that. And there's been conversation back and forth with from the major news media, that type thing, on the best way I can say it is the transition for Mr. Trump from previous years as being a Democrat, being an independent, and now being a Republican. And I think when you look at the history of a lot of what I would say moderate Republicans, that seems to be the path that a lot of them have taken over the years. What's your standing on that as far as his positions that way?
Well, I think that let me just kind of back up just a little bit and tell you another reason that I am voting for Trump is that he's paying for his whole campaign. Mm-hmm. He has been on those sides, the other side where he has backed plenty of different people, and with them and other parties. He is definitely a Republican, and he has been voting Republican for many, many years now. Mm-hmm. I think that he will just really be a uniter for all of us. But the other thing that interests me is he's got no hidden agenda. He's got no one in his pocket. He's paying for everything in his campaign. Now, the average American that wants to send in $20 because they want to help make America great again, mm-hmm. He wants them to be able to do that. He doesn't want big donations so that he owes anybody anything. He doesn't owe anybody anything except the American people. He will tell you real quick, I'm working for all Americans. That's the only people I'm going to be answering to. And to me, that's a breath of fresh air. Yeah. The no talk, no action, politician, blah, blah, blah. I'm ready to see something happen. I'm ready for Americans to come together and get this country back, get it back on track. We're a debtor nation. We're looking at, 19 trillion? It's probably going to be 21 before he even takes office. We've got to get somebody in there that can make some deals, and we know he's the art of the deal, Arthur. But I just really believe that everything he touches turns to gold. He just is so successful, and I think it's time to run this country like a business and, do something for our people and our vets.
Yeah. Well, I find it very interesting that, over the years of in politics, that we've heard from the Democratic side and the Republican side that we need to get money out of politics, get special interest groups out, and then we finally have a candidate who is self-funding and not taking those big donations, and now both sides are attacking him for that. So it's I do find that interesting that they finally get what they want, but that's not good enough.
Well, I think that's interesting too. And what's really funny is when you've got them coming at you from the right and you've got them coming at you from the left, you must be doing something right. And that's the guy that's got my vote, because he has no super PACs. I got an email this morning saying Trump super PAC and wanting money. There are no super PACs with Trump. This is clearly somebody that just wanted to raise money to do whatever they do with it, but it's not going to Donald Trump, because there are no super PACs for Trump. He's paying for everything himself. And that is just very refreshing to me. No hidden agenda. Again, I said that before, but you have people like Soros who gives to every politician, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. He's got his money in all their pockets. So what do you think when it comes down to Soros needing something? The only Republican that I know of that hasn't taken any money from him is Donald Trump, because he doesn't need his money. He doesn't need anybody's money. And that is just, to me, refreshing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. To take from the standpoint of the campaign, where you see us come with March 1st, what do you want to people in Pickens County and the surrounding area, the 9th and the 14th district, since we do split it both ways, to know from Donald Trump's standpoint?
Well, I know that he's going to build that wall, and that will be done, I'm sure. He is also going to he's going to build the wall. He's going to do away with Obamacare, which definitely needs to be done away with. Mm-hmm. He is going to look after our vets, which is very, very important, like we just discussed. Mm-hmm. Trying to think. Oh, yeah, he's going to get rid of Common Core, that is very important to me, because, he wants the states to be able, and the local government to be able to handle education. We do not need to handle education from Washington, D.C. We can already see what's going on with that now, and it's a total disaster.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, for citizens who want information, if they're not able to get by here and pick up stuff to this evening, how would they get in touch with you and with the party?
Yes, they are welcome to call me. My number is 770-695-5787, and I will be glad to get them bumper stickers or yard signs, or we've got some Trump buttons, vote for Trump. Also, if they would like to do any volunteer work, you can go online to www.donaldjtrump.com, and it will say up at the top, volunteer. You can click on that. Or you can call Team Trump in Georgia, and that number is 678-701-8808. And I can tell you, just being involved and doing the campaigning for Mr. Trump, it's been a blessing for me. I've met some wonderful people. I do believe that there's no greater country in the world than the United States of America. The people here are Americans. The other thing that I want to say real quick is I agree with Mr. Trump about just halting a ban on refugees coming into this country, not forever, just till we can vet these people. These people right now cannot be vetted. So let's just, be smart. Let's understand until we know where they're coming from and what they're made up of. Do not let them in this country. It could be terrible. We saw what happened in San Bernardino. It's extremely scary, and I agree with him. And come into this country, but come into this country legally. We want everybody to come in here, but come in legally. That's the key. That's what we want. Illegals, Mr. Trump says that, they got to go, but they can come in legally. There's going to be a big, nice door for them legally.
Yep. All right. Well, good deal. Well, again, Robyn, thank you for being on, and I'd like to have you back on later in the campaign as we get close and get after the March 1st primary. I think Super Tuesday and SEC primary will be, I think it'll be a thinning of the herd, and I'll just say it that way. So,
well, thank you so much, and I would love to come back on anytime, and I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to get the word out. I think that we can make America great again, and I think we can make it better than it's ever been before. Go vote. Vote Trump.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.